Hi there, I'm Dr.Zootsuit. I'm an artist, writer, video game collector, and all in all professional gadabout. I'm here to talk to you today about some real hot things, some real major revelations to astonish and astound. Have you ever perhaps considered that Terraria is a good game?
I don't really think that's a controversial take. The game seems kind of beloved. Last I checked, it's still the #1 top-rated game on Steam. This shit beat Portal 2 and Stardew Valley. That's the level of fervor we're talking here. Hell, as of my 3rd script revision, it recently passed Red Dead Redemption 2 and became the 9th best-selling game of all time. In the event you've wandered in off the street and don't know what a Terraria is or what I'm talking about, let me help you out. Terraria is a video game. Now, video games were of course invented in 1906 after Sir Ernest Video Gamesley was abducted by a pack of wild men from beyond the stars. After partying with them, he learned a way to drink beer with his butt, and when he returned, used this power to invent the Super Nintendo. Civilization was never the same. Anyway, cut forward to the year 2011, and a guy called Redigit makes a game using Final Fantasy VI sprites and calls it Terraria. And Terraria turns out to be the shit. It's in the start in a field, craft workbenches, smelt ore genre, but instead of making you manage meters, Terraria has you kill space monsters, which is pretty much superior in every way. But there's something else Terraria has. Something special that every game dreams of having extend its longevity to the stars beyond. A robust and active modding scene, baby.
And that's kind of why I'm here today. See, Terraria is a really great game, but I kind of ran out of it. The game has seen its very definitely ultimate final update, at least until the next one comes along, and I beat the game on Master. I've collected all of the self-worth obelisks. What am I supposed to do with myself now? Well, play mods, duh, but, while gassing up to play all this stuff, it kind of occurred to me, hey, if I'm gonna be up to my elbows in this vat of nougat, then I may as well tell other people what it feels like as well, which is why I started the video project you're watching now. I figure I can helpfully guide you to waste your time well by telling you what's worth playing and what isn't. Also, the other ideas for the review show didn't really end up panning out. Aw. Now, I can't just ask you to trust me. I need to show you what a supreme big brain boy I am. So episode 0 here is going to just be me attempting to describe what I think makes Terraria itself work well from a game design perspective. Like dissecting a cat to show you that I can be allowed to wick on humans. Also, it helps me carve out my production pipeline for the actual series and, gives me something to do while I wait for the mod loader to update. This video will probably take longer than the mod loader does.
Let's talk about why Terraria is a good game. So, okay, Terraria's greatest strength is... This is hard to articulate. Linear progression in a non-linear world. Sandbox open-world games are pretty standard nowadays. Minecraft has made more money than God, GTA is busy making its own god out of money, and Ubisoft has sacrificed its body as a hollow vessel for the eldritch god of radio towers and sex abuse. Sandboxes allow for emergent gameplay experiences, and that kicks ass. But Terraria is so strong because Terraria has that emergent exploration, but uses it to deliver a linear progression and game flow. The game says, go wherever you want, explore, do what feels right, man, in the same way that Minecraft does, but Terraria is notably an enclosed world, unlike Minecraft's infinite canvas. Terraria is built more like a Metroidvania's world, with distinct areas with specific goals inside them. Being built like this gives the game the best of both worlds. On the one hand, you have a strong linear progression of gear, enemies, and environments that a more structured RPG or Metroidvania would give you. But on the other hand, you have the open world, creativity-inducing building and destruction elements, and a feeling of variety from a randomly generated but consistently structured world that you get from a sandbox or building game. Comparing Minecraft and Terraria, Minecraft sacrifices this structure in order to perform far better in the creativity arena. Minecraft's third dimension makes the creative ceiling infinitely higher and makes creating spaces inside it more fun, and would also make a limited world feel strangling and constraining. Minecraft needs to be infinite for its creative aspects, and Terraria needs to be a constrained world for its linear aspects. Both are good in different ways, and both are good at what they do, and that's why it's good to compare them. I now promise to stop talking about Minecraft, guy who's already halfway through writing your comment. Terraria's structure means that you get to combine the open-ended discovery of the way forward with the satisfying payoff of boss fights leading to concrete progression. This is something I really love, world progression. Bosses and invasions trigger changes in the state of the world that manage to do the impossible by changing the hostility level of your environment in a game where, hypothetically, you can leave your environment at any time. Hard mode is genius, because it takes the point where the player has conquered every challenge the map offers and resets things, making every area of the world dangerous and fresh again. Hard mode basically doubles the use of the game world, like turning your underwear inside out. Speaking of boss fights, they are, in my opinion, one of the game's most important aspects. There's a reason every update was judged by how many new bosses it added, and that's because bosses are the biggest climax moments in the game. They're the arbiters of your progression, and their drops and effects on the game world are what move things forward.
The Dread Nautilus deserves event boss status, damn it.
Terraria's bosses are great, too. In my opinion, boss fights serve a very important role in games, testing the player. I really hate it when a boss fight in a game is handled with completely different gameplay than the regular gameplay, because a boss is, I feel, meant to sit down and say, prove you understand the core gameplay to whatever level, or you cannot continue. And Terraria's bosses are all about this. Bosses in Terraria test a whole list of things. Number 1, they test your ability to understand the game's movement. Movement is a big part of Terraria, with items like the Hermes boots or grappling hook being massive game changers when you get them. And boss fights test whether you can exhibit mastery of those abilities. And every boss does this. The Eye of Cthulhu tests whether you understand basic vertical and horizontal movement, and the Moon Lord and Empress of Light test whether you understand snap changes in momentum and placement with your wings and mount. Number 2, bosses test your ability to understand the game's world shaping. Building houses and digging mines is all well and good, but Terraria tests you by making sure that most bosses are infinitely easier to fight if you build an arena of some kind. Whether it's a row of platforms, giving the dungeon a buzz cut, building a parking lot over the ocean, or making sure you know where all the flying islands are so you don't run into them while fighting the Moon Lord, Terraria's bosses ask that you engage with the world shaping for tactical advantage, not just creative distraction, meaning you need to exhibit some degree of understanding on how to build spaces to move in and manipulate the environment to give yourself an edge. And number 3, the bosses test your ability to understand the game's items. Food, potions, armor, accessories, weapons, ammo. Bosses make sure that you're engaging with all of the game's items by asking you to look for any advantage you can claw out, which means that there are very few things that are genuinely useless, and those are typically intentional vanity and joke items. These are all basic aspects of Terraria, and testing them like this is why the boss fights end up being so engaging and are seen as such important parts of the game.
Let's see, have I forgotten anything up until now? Shit! Oh man, this isn't good. I gotta think of something funny. Come on, think. Think. Ugh. Man, fuck comedy. I believe only in the discussion of game design.
Time to talk about equipment. Look at those boobs! Whoa! Equipment in Terraria is neat because it's actually your main form of power. Armors, weapons, and most important, lovely accessories, or it makes your character tough, fast, or dangerous. This ends up making every upgrade feel great. Rather than picking upgrades off of some menu, you get that satisfying slot-changing sound and the immediate, easy comparisons and results of an upgrade. Also, the nature of just how many pieces of equipment and weapons there are really works well in the name of customization. Getting to pick what you want to wield is a lot of fun, because it's one thing to cast amazing magic spells, and it's another to know that the magic spell you're casting is one that feels like it had the most oomph and technical ability to fit in your hands.
That actually kind of brings me to my very first issue. So the fangirl must come the critic, you see, and I can't just spend the entire video being positive. I'm a big cool dude of the East Sump Acres cool dudes, which means that I play the game on Expert and, more recently, Master Mode. But I got a couple issues there, because see, while those additional difficulty modes give you all sorts of cool stuff like the treasure bags, the Master Mode statues, new boss attacks, the Expert Mode items, and holy shit, the 2 accessory slots that the game becomes fucking unplayable without, what you sacrifice as a price for all that stuff is mostly the game's choice elements.
When playing on the harder difficulties, you basically have to min-max. Expert somewhat, and Master absolutely. On Master, you need every advantage possible. Potions, food, every buff, and the best possible numbers, regardless of what weapons, accessories, and other stuff you'd like to use. When meeting these challenges, it really feels like there's zero flexibility. You follow the exact mathematical formula for preparation, or die. And I'm talking about my dumb ass here, so no, I don't care that you can beat Master Mode naked with the copper short sword, Steven. I'm the birthday girl, and this video is for me to talk about how I'm great, so the game must be dumb if it kills me. Okay, in a more objective sense, I can prove this quibble by pointing to specific items that end up lacking in higher difficulties. Past normal mode, the Piranha Gun or Shadow Beam Staff, for instance, both become completely useless, because they just can't do damage fast enough to deal with even mid-tier threats. The numbers go up, and certain items just get left in the dust due to their shot patterns.
Unfortunately, and this will be a bit of a theme with my quibbles, I don't really know how you'd go about fixing this. This just seems like a reality of playing the game on the harder difficulty. And, you know, normal mode is called normal mode for a reason. It's the main intended experience. If master mode is broken because it inflates all the stats, well, that's just gonna kind of happen. That said, though, the game really is unplayable without those extra accessory slots. Once you get used to them, they're a complete game changer. Accessories are obviously such an important part of how your build works that 2 more of them is incredible. It's huge. It completely changes the way that you're going to play the game, which I think is why I would argue I enjoy Expert and Master Mode more than normal, is because just more accessories equals more fun, because you can do more stuff all at once and the game feels richer.
Anyway, speaking of greed and the few issues I actually have with the Terraria experience, let's talk about RNG. Fuck off, you hoser. You're the worst part of the game. RNG in Terraria is by far the worst part of everything it touches. You trying to get a specific item you need for your build off a boss? Ha! Sorry, buddy, it's gonna take a dozen Wall of Flesh kills to get that ranger emblem. Oh, you want something specific from fishing? Sit down at the desk and roll dice over and over until they all land on 15. What, you want one of the items necessary for making the Terra boots? They're in one of the hundreds of chests in your world. Maybe. Oh, and I'm sorry, you need a Rod of Discord because Master Mode requires that you learn the secrets of instant transmission. It sucks. Not fun. Never fun. But there's no way to fix it. Not that I can think of that would feel right in the vanilla game. Calamity mod allows you to craft a lot of important items directly. Every mod with a potion seller cuts fishing down immensely, and IMK Sushi, Imp Sushi, look this up later, mod adds redeemable tokens that let you cut all that chest gambling. But I don't know if I would like any of those solutions as part of the base game. This is so wishy-washy of me, but It's almost as if the people making the game are professional game designers who know what they're doing, and I'm some random asshole on the internet.
Let's see. I did a little praise about a lot of things. I did a lot of complaining about a few little things. What next?
The class system's a lot of fun. I like the way it allows the player choice of how they want to play, and each class manages to be pretty varied. Melee has high defense and no resource to manage. Magic has more varied attacks and a resource that needs to be managed very carefully. Ranged is the best, and summoning makes the game into an overt bullet hell where you focus entirely on dodging. Or just carry a gun, sword, or magic item because the class was designed around you doing exactly that.
Let's see, next on the list is more gushing praise. God damn it, why didn't I write any kind of logical flow to this? This is just me pinballing back and forth between different things I like about the game. Ah well, let's talk about the vanity system.
Vanity customization in games is so important for me, man. I love it. Games that give me the ability to play dress up go up like a whole review point. These two games are completely equal. And Terraria is fantastic for dress up, because they not only give you the ability to choose whatever armor appearance you want and not sacrifice stats, but they also let you do the same for any accessories that have appearances. And you can dye everything! Oh god, it's so good. Also, you know, not to go around rubbing my own rhubarb, but you can wear an outfit that I designed. You know, it's like literally me. That's my design right there. Go wear it. And in regards to features that only I care about, let's talk lore. Terraria has lore, I hear you ask. No, it doesn't. There's a thing marked official lore, but it's like a page long and creates more questions than it answers. A normal, reasonable person would shrug their shoulders and say, meh, the game's fun anyway. But, you know, you could always be a complete lunatic like me. Write a whole lore bible that explains the presence of just about everything in the game.
So, okay, the first thing that you need to understand is that Terraria, the place itself, is a god, and it's currently dying, and feasting upon its corpse are the Crimson and the Corruption. So obviously Terraria, which is sentient, as are the Corruption and Crimson, has decided that it needs a champion which it can pass its godhood onto. So it kidnaps a bunch of scientists from Colorado. Anyway. The next thing you need to know, after anything about the lizards, the next thing you need to know is that the dungeon is sentient, and actually, every single undead creature is specifically a servant of the dungeon. And the old man who was pulled from Earth in 1977, and that's why the highest density of abandoned houses is in the underworld, and that is why the Moon Lord is here, and that is why the corruption slows down when you kill Plantera, and that... I had to cut that way down because I seriously doubt any of you really want to sit there and listen to me talk about the full mechanics of where exactly demons come from. You know, at least in this video. But what I hope to illustrate here is less that I'm nuts, which we already knew, but more that what Terraria has as lore is just kind of lackluster. If Skeletron is part of Cthulhu, then why is it so much smaller than the other body parts? Why does it erupt out of the clothier? Why is it defending the dungeon at all? Where did all the abandoned houses come from? Where did all the zombies come from? Please note that this is not any kind of invitation to attempt to write more lore for it. I don't think it actually needs it at all. What is life if not to complain about very, very small things on the internet?
To refute myself, though, I will point out that Terraria's kitchen sink approach to fantasy concepts and logic, and Lizette's fair attitude end up working very well in its favor. That open-ended potential is what inspires so many people to create OCs, create mods with their own wonderful lore, and, well, you know, write giant documents where they obsessively answer dumb questions like why the solar eclipse summons horror movie monsters in universe. Having spent time looking at all the rad stuff people draw and write in the Terraria Tumblr tag leaves no doubt in my mind that that blank slate approach is, in fact, far healthier for the game and its player base on the whole. And hey, I wouldn't have gotten to write all that stuff if I wasn't driven to in the first place, so the blank slate approach directly served me there.
It just goes to show that Terraria is really, really good at what it does. It's got really strong progression, really fun combat, and great use of customization mechanics like building. All in all, can get you pretty attached to the game. And, you know, being attached like that with such a high level of customizability, after a while, maybe you start to, you know, develop a bit of a character. And then, once you've got a character, you kind of want to know what they're up to. And then you start asking yourself questions like, what's their name? Thank you for watching episode 0 of Mod Eater. Holy shit, did this take a while to get out. Hopefully there will be more of it soon enough. The next one will be a review of an actual mod. Imagine that. As I said at the beginning, this episode took so long to produce just because I've been carving out the pipeline for how I want to make these things. Hopefully later ones should come a bit faster. But, you know, stuff like the visual novel assets that you just watched, I only need to make those once. And then I can use them as many times as I want, and it's great. Kind of took so long because I was doing the vast meat of most of it. Please help me. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe and go follow me on Tumblr, where you can read all sorts of cool side information about the various crew members of the Hyperlight Alice. Episode 1 should hopefully come out pretty soon, so in the meantime, I'm gonna be right here working on it. And I know it's officially pronounced Terraria, but I prefer to call it Terraria. You should leave a very mean comment about this. Call me names! Hurting me and killing me. Killing me with blasts.